its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Trento Vision is hosted by Tom Trento. Tom can be reached at 561-319-5533 or Tom at TrentoVision.tv. Listen and watch every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN and TrentoVision.tv. Now, let's get a peek at Tom's view of the world. Here's Tom Trento.
To justice the criminals who did this time. We did a lot for the people of Libya. We did a lot for...
What we have here going on live is the congressional hearing for Hillary Clinton on Benghazi in the House. Earlier today, she was testifying in the Senate, talking about her Benghazi escapade and how she is not responsible, yet she is responsible for everything. I'm really, kind of confused there, CJ. Is she responsible or is she not responsible? Because she says she's responsible, but then when you ask her if she's responsible, it's not really responsible.
She takes the responsibility for nothing.
For nothing, but blames Congress for not funding Benghazi.
For not giving them enough money.
But she's really sorry. She cries.
Oh, yeah. She's weepy.
She feels for them.
Yeah, she does.
She loves them.
Okay. Do the people know who we are?
Yes. I'm J. Mark Campbell, filling in for the master, Tom Trento, the slave master, Tom Trento. And we have CJ.
Hi.
Hi. Say hi, CJ.
Hi, CJ.
And we have Invisible Mike.
Hi. Hey, leave me alone. I'm working.
And we are WNN 1470 Boca Raton, Florida, where it is a nice 76 degrees on the inside today. And it is, what is it outside, CJ?
Oh, I didn't think you were going to ask me for the weather this early in the show.
You're the weather girl.
Just what I wanted to be just what I want to be if I ever grow up, a weather girl. 72 degrees in beautiful downtown Boca Raton,
That's right.
Florida.
And we have trains that are fracking up north again.
Yeah, those fracking trains.
And, I just, really kills me, CJ, is, what's your whole take on this whole, Benghazi hearing with Hillary Clinton?
Well, of course, she stretched it out to wait as long as she could until she was on her way out the door, and they're not really going to call her back once she's officially vacated the post of Secretary of State, right?
Right, and they hid, obviously, Abedin's prayer rug, so she couldn't trip over that, going to the hearing today.
Yeah, that leads me to the joke of she's the fall guy. What is she going to admit now that she wouldn't admit any time before?
You look at this whole thing, and before we go into the details of the whole Benghazi thing, just give you the end of the story here before we go into the beginning of the story. It just seems like any person who is a Democrat of any type of stature or whatsoever, the leftist press, everybody is circle the wagons, round them all up, protect the accused.
Protect the chief.
Protect the chief.
Yeah.
And they're setting her up for the president, for a presidential run.
Right.
2016.
Right.
As much as they loathed and hated her before when she was running against the Messiah.
Right.
Oh,
right.
now she can't do any wrong.
Yeah. Now if it's okay for her to be the disciple of the Messiah.
Oh, okay. Because she's a good soldier.
Unless, of course, they find a way for the emperor to stay in power for another 4 years after this. Right?
She's a good soldier, though. You got to love her. She's really a good soldier.
Well, I'm looking up trying to figure out how many millions of miles it actually is that she traveled during her tour of duty as Secretary of State, because everybody seems to be congratulating her for spending so little time in this country.
That's right. Yeah, she's a wonderful job.
Yeah. I was Googling a list of Hillary Clinton's achievements as Secretary of State, and I can't come up with any.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, that wonderful thing she did in, where was it?
No, not quite.
No.
Wasn't. No, not there either.
Egypt?
No, not really. No, not really.
Israel.
Oh, yeah. She did real well in Israel.
Oh,
Did she
what
go
was
to
it?
Israel? Yeah, she did.
She
to
did
give
wonderful.
spankings.
She
Yeah.
did wonders over there. Let
Yeah.
me see. Where,
I tell you what.
Europe, Greece. She did wonderful. Oh no,
No, not
quite,
Greece.
Not quite.
No.
What was it?
How about
Oh.
South America?
South America? Did she? Oh, well,
Well, she threw Honduras under the bus in Central America.
let me see. What was it?
They used to be
What
our
was that
ally.
wonderful accomplishment she accomplished that she's almost got the Nobel Prize for? Oh,
No, I'm stuck. I tell you what.
yeah.
Our number here is 888-565-1470. If you can think of a single achievement that Hillary Clinton made as Secretary of State
That we just like, oh my God, how could
that
you
we
guys
just
miss
totally
that one?
forgot about, please call us and tell us
Just,
what do you think her accomplishments were as Secretary of State. I tell you what, if you can come up with one, what would we do for somebody who could think of one?
we would say we were wrong.
We would say we were wrong. What else could we do?
For you want to prove us that we are wrong, that Hillary Clinton is the most wonderful secretary.
No, I'm not saying we're wrong. I'm just saying, maybe we're just stupid and we can't think of them.
That could
Maybe
be
we
it.
just have,
I just missed them all.
medium-term memory loss or something.
I don't know.
'cause
It's
not
just old
short
age. It must be
term.
old age.
It's not long-term. So we have medium-term
Yeah,
memory
yeah,
loss. I don't know.
It's pretty. I seriously, I'm racking my brain. Go. Well, what did she do?
Yeah, what did she do?
Now I can the things that she
president
didn't
sure
do.
sent her out of town a lot, though, didn't he?
Yeah,
He made
it
sure
was like-
she was never around to steal his thunder.
It was definitely where's Waldo?
Yeah.
Where's Hillary at
Where's
today?
Hillary?
And
Yeah.
anytime anything of crisis came up, oh my God, she's down in.
She's in some backwater, who knows what, wearing a
BFE,
ceremonial costume, getting her picture taken that nobody posts because it wasn't
God.
big enough to be in the news.
Oh God.
Oh my
It just-
gosh.
Do you ever feel like you're just living in a Twilight Zone world, and you're just like,
I think we all went down the rabbit hole, and we are now in an alternate universe in which the furniture is the wrong size. Okay?
this is craziness. This is craziness. And they're all letting her off the hook on this whole Benghazi thing. So, I mean, nobody's asking any hard. The Senate sure in the heck didn't ask any hard questions, except for Rand Paul. And boy, did they rally the.
A couple of them asked some questions, but
Yeah, but
very minimal.
But you should hear the left just go off. Oh, he was just so mean. He was just so. I can't believe
poor
he's only
Hillary.
He's only been in the Senate 2 years. And how dare he question Hillary? How dare he do this? Oh, he's just such a mean person. And she cares. And she look at her. She just cares, and she cares so much.
yeah.
It-
We're going to bring up the weeping again.
yeah. Oh. Well, she cried today. So
Yeah,
that was
she
good.
did. Yeah, and that
So
was
that-
so
then-
special.
that
yeah.
was.
That's why she had to wear the glasses because she couldn't. Oh, we do. Oh my gosh! Somebody actually
Does
called.
someone actually have a? All right. We're going to bring Eric online because
This is so
he might challenge us
exciting.
here. He might challenge us here to list Hillary Clinton. Eric, are you on the line? Eric, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Tell us one of Hillary Clinton's greatest accomplishments as Secretary of State. We might missed it.
I wish I could help you out on that one.
Oh, we thought you were the caller that called in and says, I got it. We've been asking, what did she... we thought we just had
Yeah.
short-term memory loss or something. We didn't know.
Medium term.
Oh,
No.
okay.
Well, I don't know if this is a great accomplishment, but let me see. Her, along with this administration, I'm just curious if there's any other administration that has, let me see, like Fast and Furious.
Oh, that was a pretty great accomplishment there. I got to give him 10 points on 10 out of 10 on that one.
Yeah, and Benghazi. Any other administration that I can't remember that we have lost people under our watch as they have under their watch, and have not accepted it, have not owned up to it. And it amazes me that this is going on, and nobody, especially the media.
Well, Hillary took responsibility for Benghazi. She said she did.
Yeah, but it's not her fault.
take full responsibility for everything that happened in Benghazi. It wasn't my fault.
I take full responsibility, but it's your fault for not giving me the money. And frankly,
That's
after the
great.
attack happened, I was too busy trying to make sure that everybody was safe to actually find
Find
out what
what
happened,
happened.
although I actually did know what happened while it
And
was
that-
happening.
And who cares about that video? The video was just such a side thing. We didn't even really care about the video. It was just such a side issue. We didn't even bother to think about it because we had bigger and better things doing it. And the video, even though it wasn't actually that true, but it wasn't false, but it wasn't that true. Oh my God! So what did you call in for, Eric? Was it to talk about Hillary or what?
That was basically it. It's just it's really upsetting to me, and because I know these mock trials are going on with her right now, and it's going to be the same old, and nothing's going to happen. And it's like Barbara Walters was talking about with Obama, in the Gettysburg Address and such, and somebody said that he wouldn't know the Gettysburg Address. He would know the Gettysburg Address, and that was it. But not to be rude. However, I just thought I was just curious if you guys had any background of any administration that has had such disgrace in regards to an ambassador and people that are trying to protect our borders.
Well, in all fairness, to hit a Republican administration, Eric, I'm going to have to go with the whole Iran-Contra thing as pretty not good.
Right. No, but not in the comparison to this, where an ambassador gets killed, SEALs get killed, and the whole gamut. I mean, when's the last time we've had an ambassador killed?
That was like in
79. What
like
was it?
30 years ago.
Yeah,
or
something like that.
Right.
But no, I got to agree with you though. As far as the corruption, as far as going on, is that I got to give they win hands down on
Yeah.
this one.
What's really disturbing to me about the whole thing, and Eric, I don't know how old you are or what generation you're from or how far back your presidential memories go.
I'm an old coot. I'm a Reaganite.
You're an old coot. Okay. All right. Well, you're in good
I'm a
company
Reaganite.
here.
I was in the military in the late 70s, and that's when I started my career.
Ah, okay. Very interesting. What's really shocking to me about Benghazi is the reaction of not just the Republicans, who I think have been softballing the whole thing, but it seems to me there is not a single Democrat out there
Not one.
who's willing to challenge this administration for the sake of national security on any single issue. It's like their country does not matter to them at all. Circle the wagons around the party, protect the chief, and that is it. And in my memory, which doesn't go quite as far back as yours, but it does go, back at least to, I remember the Clinton years pretty well. I have never seen such a political failure amongst our representatives, senators, political leaders on both sides of the aisle. I have never, ever seen that. This country does not matter to them. It is all about the party. It is all about the ideology, and the country is irrelevant, and I have never seen that. Have you ever seen that?
Well, it's funny because I can remember, and when I joined the United States Air Force back in 1978, and I remember in the early 80s how we used to talk about people's feelings in regards to the United States of America, and I could almost see the path that we were heading then, because there was a lot of people that were bad-mouthing, for lack of a better word, bad-mouthing the United States.
Right.
And that was our people. And I remember it was almost difficult in a sense that if I wasn't in the military, where I would have went, in my regards for this country, because it was being spewed every which way you can think of about how bad this country is and the immoralities of this country, and if it wasn't for my dedication into the military and my love of this country, I can only imagine I would have been with these other Wall Streeters that are out there and
Right.
such.
But it's so
My
easy.
goodness.
If you don't have a
And
good
that's
moral,
going back to the early 80s.
Yep. And if you don't have a good
Really?
moral compass of who you are and what your value system is, everything else comes out of that. And that's classic what's happened to the Democrat Party. And the party has become the god. The party has become the ideology of which you follow. There is no moral compass inside of you. And that's what's disappeared. And that's what disappeared even from the Republican Party. They've lost their moral compass also. They've lost who they are. And that's the reason they're wishy-washy. They have no value systems. Well, if we just change our values, we'll get more votes. No. If we just modify our values and then say,
If we just abandon any principles we have left, we'll be fine.
We'll get more
get
votes.
elected again.
And that's just where it has gone.
Can I ask you one last thing I wanted to ask you, Eric, do you live in Florida or where do you live?
No, I live in Cooper City.
Oh, you do? Okay, so you're local. Okay.
Yeah.
So what did you think about the lead up to the election?
Are you talking about the Obama?
Yeah.
Re-election?
The Obama.
Oh,
Yeah, the
my-
Obama.
Yeah, the Obama.
The Obama.
Yeah.
Oh my! It's I know Alan left, and yeah, he put his foot in his mouth, and and they say that there was various reasons that he did lose the election.
Mm-hmm.
However, when they have with him and the election for Obama, you have so many people that voted that weren't even alive,
Right.
so to speak.
Right.
And you have different cities and such that had such a low count of numbers of which the city doesn't even carry. So where is the regulations for that?
Right.
It sounds like we have the fox guarding the hen house.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
where was everybody at when? And is fair? I mean, are you allowed to have a 110%?
141% turnout. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
141 still?
Well,
Yeah.
Eric,
Are
I tell
that?
you what, I have some good information for you because it sounds like you're going to be interested in a project that Mark is going to be launching.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about
About
the
the
Tea Party community?
Yeah, we're actually
Yeah.
launching a Tea Party community. We actually got a big hit yesterday on it. It's been in beta testing
Yeah.
since for the last 4 months,
Right.
and we just threw it out just a beta test. We get like 100, 200 members, 1,000 maybe. So it's actually a beta test, and we just kind of threw it out there. No advertising, no anything like that.
Right.
And it's teapartycommunity.com. Now in essence, it's the anti-Facebook.
TeaPartyCommunity.com.
It's the
PartyCommunity.com.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
anti-Facebook of Facebook. So because liberals are just rule the roost over there, if you
And they shut you down
shut you
if you're
down, right,
conservative
right.
and you post things that they don't like.
and so what we did,
Right.
we did the you call it in the technical terms you call it a soft launch or a beta launch,
Right.
and just to work out all the bugs.
Right.
And amazing to us, over the period since it's been launched, we jump up and we look. Oh, well, there's 1,000 members. Oh my God, there's 2,000 members. Oh my God, there's 5,000. Oh my, 10,000. Oh my, 20,000 members. It just
And
kept.
you didn't even tell anybody.
Tell anybody. It was just word of mouth. I mean,
Right.
we literally just put it up there.
All right.
You
So
send a few friends. Yeah.
tell us about the
Yeah.
big launch is going to
Yeah.
be.
So the big launch is going to be in February 2nd.
Yeah.
And
so that's
it's-
next, not this coming
Not that-
Saturday.
yeah,
but
5 to 7 on the weekend
Okay.
and Saturday, and we're gonna have and bring on some special guests, and it's really gonna be a good thing.
Okay.
And we just got a big hit, with the Fox News thing, where, they said, hey, if you want to, through a whole story where people were getting banned on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
They said if you want a conservative-friendly Facebook site, go to the teapartycommunity.com.
Oh, cool.
And now the
Okay,
membership
so
jumped
Fox.
just out of the blue. We had nothing know about it.
Yeah, we
And
didn't even know.
And now there's 37,000 members with no launch
With
whatsoever.
no launch.
So
Okay.
it's going to be really
All
good.
right, so Eric, keep listening to the show here on WNN 1470 AM,
Mm-hmm.
or follow us on the internet at trentovision.tv.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
and please visit us at teapartycommunity.com and keep in touch.
Right.
Thank
And
you
just
for calling.
go check it out. It's actually
trust
pretty
me,
fun.
when everybody that I see, everybody I come in contact, I mean, I found out this station. I listened to Steve Kane show in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And,
It's good, good people.
And I just happened to have this station on my radio when I was going home from work.
Uh-huh.
And I hear you guys, and I was like, oh, my, this is
This is good stuff, huh? You didn't say who were these knuckleheads?
Everybody.
Oh, really?
Everybody.
Excellent.
Oh, my gosh, that's
Fantastic,
great.
Eric.
All right.
Yeah,
Well, thank you. Tell your friends.
Yeah, tell your friends to tell your friends.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks.
Well, thank you guys.
Hey, thanks a lot, Eric. Hey,
All right.
thanks for calling.
Well,
Appreciate it.
it's 23 past 3 here in Boca Raton, Florida. We are Trento Vision on WNN 1470 AM, and yesterday
We talked about
we talked about the Israeli elections, and we had a very, very interesting guest. We actually had two very interesting guests,
Right.
and one of them is calling back today.
to
We
give us an
have-
update.
Yeah, to give us an update on the election, and we have Jerry Gordon on the line.
Jerry, are you there, buddy?
I'm here.
Oh, you're here. You hung in there.
You
Thank
hung in
you.
there. Thanks for hanging in there with us, buddy.
Jerry, can you do me a favor to start off, because your bio is so impressively extensive that I don't even know what to pick and choose to say about you. So could you let the listeners
let me
and
tell you,
viewers...
This is the thing about Jerry. This is the thing about Jerry. You go, hey, Jerry, do you know John Blah?
He knows
from
everybody in the whole
Oh,
world.
yeah. We did.
Yeah.
And it's
So,
like,
Jerry, please tell everybody just a little bit about yourself before you stun us with your brilliance.
Well, I like to have compliments like that, but really I'm nothing more than a country boy from eastern Massachusetts.
okay.
I just happened to have volunteered almost, 50 years ago to enter into the U.S. Army as an, quote, intelligence officer after going through my initial Army officer infantry training at Fort Benning. But basically, I am, as some of your listeners know, currently a senior editor of something called the New English Review, which is an Anglo-American monthly webzine. We have a blog, which is called The Iconoclast, that I post on virtually every day.
Yes.
And I am also the author of The West Speaks. People like Bob Yor, Kurt Wilders, you may recall him.
We know him.
It's too many.
A guy who may have a role in Israel this current election cycle of sorts, Dr. Aryeh Eldad. He's with the Strong Israel Group.
Raphael Israeli, a couple people,
And I think one of the more remarkable interviews that, Mark, you participated in was the one in Nashville in 2010 with Rafi Israeli on the Fethullah Gulen, something that is a plague of American taxpayers all across this country.
And just on a little side note, the Fethullah Gulen, or however you pronounce them, is actually loathed and hated over in Turkey, but they're loved and adored by the Clinton administration and everybody else. And
The Clinton administration?
Yeah, back then. And then they have just gone gangbusters since then. And nobody knows about these guys in America. And it's
nobody knows about them because fundamentally, I think a deal was cut with the U.S. Justice Department on a previous action way back when. And where's this guy living in sort of a fortified compound in the Pocono Mountains in Pennsylvania?
That's crazy. It's crazy.
I mean, it's really crazy. But
if you take 2 seconds to look at this guy, he's a nut job. He's a complete nut job, a radical terrorist nut job. And you're like, my God.
It's considered to be, if you wanted to talk about a toss-up a jump ball between Al Qaeda and the Gulen.
I know. It's like, I know. Yeah.
Hello.
I know. It's craziness.
Here's a guy who has amassed a huge fortune, estimated well in excess of $25 billion.
I know.
Not chump change.
And where do you think all that money's going to? It's going to pay off, to get in favor with the Democrats over here and the Republicans too.
That's true. I mean, but privately, I have done some stuff up in Tennessee with some great people there that prevented the Gulen from getting their nose in the feeding trough of state funding for charter schools, which is, of course, what they've done in Texas.
Right.
A whole bunch of other jurisdictions across the U.S.
And the reason we bring up the Gulen is because Hillary Clinton is knee deep up to her neck, with the Fethullah Gulen. They're their best buddies, and this is a person we have as Secretary of State,
Had.
Well, had.
Yeah.
Her compliant successor, the current senator from Massachusetts, gets the nod for his peers in the U.S. Senate to be confirmed as Secretary of State, then she's hasta la vista. She's back to Chappaqua.
Yeah. But anyway.
Okay. Well, one of the things that has emerged since I did a post on the Israeli elections into the night and this morning.
Yeah, I'm trying to bring that up on my screen, and my computer is frozen.
Yeah. I mean, there was a dour, interesting how the liberal media treated the events of yesterday's election in Israel. First, you got headlines like, Netanyahu has been weakened, right?
Right. Uh-huh.
Okay. Narrow victory.
Okay.
I want to talk about that. So, look what happens today. The guy who came in second was being asked, you won't believe this, was being asked by the number 3 party in rank, the Labor Party, led by a pretty face by the name of Shelley
Yasimovich.
And let our viewers, our listeners know that the Labor Party is the extreme leftist party over in...
No, they're not extreme left.
Well, they're left. They're leftist. Okay.
Well, forgive me, folks, but basically, I always consider the Labor Party in Israel to be socialists. Remember that.
Okay.
They luxuriated for decades.
Well, if you look at
the founding party in Israel until they got knocked off by Begin. Okay, so let's go zero in on what happened in less than 24 hours. Now, you may recall that we had a columnist, commentator from Netanya in Israel by the name of Barry Shaw.
Right.
Yes, we do.
And Barry Shaw made a prediction yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah, the 4 Ls.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That Bibi would form a working coalition with this guy who was the former talking head anchor for the Israeli Channel 2 by the name of Yair
Lapid.
Right, who zoomed out of nowhere to get 19 seats in the Knesset.
Did he get 19%? Was that the final?
No, he got 19 seats, yeah.
He did get 19. Okay. All right.
So Shelley Shelley, who was leader of the Labor Party, and said that, you got to build up the middle class, in Israel. I find that mind-boggling, and I'll tell you why. What is the gross domestic product per capita in Israel?
Jerry, don't give us quizzes. Just tell us what happened. Come on. My computer is frozen. Work with me here.
Our brains are full, Jerry. Our brains are full.
Okay, all right. The pop quiz is over.
We only have a certain amount of hard drive space.
Israel's got a dynamic, high-tech, driven economy.
Yeah.
Had gross domestic product of 242 billion smackers, essentially, in 2011.
Yep.
And the per capita GDP was around $33,000. So tell me, is this country impoverished?
No.
Yeah, it is like we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's like we're becoming, I should say. So, I'm going to make a long story short. What happens in less than 24 hours with this dark scene, and predictions that there's going to be, a center-left coalition? Well, there's a center-right coalition now emerging because Lapid said, no way, Shelley, am I going to participate in what is called an obstructionist coalition. What did Shelley Yasimovich want to do? She wanted to get in bed with the Arab List Party
Oh, God.
in the Knesset.
Okay. Jerry, I think actually Barry said that unless, that she was in as one of the 4 Ls, unless she tried to link up
Well, yeah,
with the Arab Party list. He did qualify it and say unless she goes over the deep end and tries to link up with
the Arabs,
with the Arab parties and like Meretz or something like that, then she was sure to be in.
That's right now. That's not going to happen. So, what did I suggest in the conversation with our friend Barry Shaw yesterday? He forgot about Naftali Bennett.
Well, no, he dismissed him.
He dismissed him.
Yeah.
And I said, and I wrote that au contraire, and you may remember my comments from yesterday, that we can't dismiss Naftali Bennett. And yes, there was criticism levied against Netanyahu.
And tell everybody who's Naftali. Come on. We're talking over heads.
For the people who weren't watching or listening to the show yesterday, can you just in 30 seconds, give us a breakdown of, the top 6 political party winners of yesterday's election, and then tell us who the figureheads are.
Okay, fine. From the top.
From the top. Let us begin at the beginning.
Remember, firstly, Israel has. Let's frame this properly. Israel has a parliament with 120 seats in it.
Mm-hmm.
There were 32 parties yesterday competing for those seats.
Yeah.
Right.
Pretty crazy, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, one of these days, someone's going to get in there and say, "Hey, gang, we're going to change this, and we're going to raise the bar on what they call
the entrance
representative proportionality."
Right.
It means any party who gets 1% can basically sit in their parliament.
So the Knesset has to get 61 people in. Right.
All right, but let's go through the top. The top party is Likud with 31 seats, headed by guess who? Bibi Netanyahu.
Okay.
Guess who's number 2 at 19 seats?
Yesh Atid.
Lapid,
Yeah.
the former Channel 2 news anchor.
Okay, so we got a new political guy in the number 2 spot.
Yep.
He's in the number 2 spot.
And he's conservative.
And
No,
Shelley Yasimovich.
he's not conservative.
What?
Lapid is not conservative. That's not a conservative party.
He's not conservative, but he is conservative with respect to making sure, let's understand ourselves, that everybody who's a citizen of Israel puts in some form of national service, whether it's with the IDF or alternative forms,
because certain people right now are exempt from serving, are exempt from serving in the military. For instance, the ultra orthodox who are in yeshivas reading Torah, or the Arabs who don't have to serve. And he says everybody should serve. That's his main platform.
Yeah, that's his main platform.
But compared to the rest of the Israeli society, he's actually to the right.
No, he's
really in the center.
He's really center.
Okay.
Yeah.
I misread that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's say Lapid represents the center in number 2. On the left side, the near socialist side, is the Labor Party headed by Shelley Yasimovich with 15 seats in the Knesset.
So she got 15, not 17.
That's correct.
Good.
Okay, even better.
Right. That's better.
So that was a loss to them because they say anything under 16, under 16, they would have thought it was a loss, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the 4th position in this roster is none other than what is called the Jewish Home Party in English, headed by a 40-year-old ex-Israeli Sayeret Matkal, or a commando officer, by the name of
Naftali Bennett.
And Naftali Bennett is sort of indicative of the great leading edge of the entrepreneurial class in Israel, because he became a self-motivated founder of a banking security software firm.
Okay.
Sold out in 2005 for something like $145 million. That isn't chump change by even U.S. standards.
Right, right. And he was also Netanyahu's former chief of staff, wasn't he?
That's correct. When Netanyahu was in opposition to Kadima.
Right.
And so is he compared to Netanyahu? What is his political leanings? More to the right?
His political leanings are to the right of Netanyahu.
Okay.
Because he's
after
not a
he
politician.
After he left Netanyahu as his chief of staff while he was an opposition leader, what did he do? He joined the Yesha Council. The Yesha Council is composed of all of the, quote, settlements in what is called Judea and Samaria.
Okay.
Yeah.
I personally don't consider them as
They're
settlements.
not, yeah, we don't think they're settlements either.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
They're basically Jewish towns and or, in some cases, cities in the disputed territories, as it's called.
Well, I
Okay.
don't think they're disputed. They're ours.
All right. So we got the top
I'm
four.
going to give you essentially the language from the infamous UN Security Council Resolution 242, circa November 1957. Okay, so that is the top roster. Slightly below that is this corrupt.
So how many seats did they get?
The fourth one.
Yeah,
they got 12 seats.
they
Okay.
did get 12. Okay.
Right. So the one next following him, the one that may be equal to him, but it's not really a single party, but it's the Arab list, got 12 seats.
The Arabs got 12.
Yep.
That's pretty big.
And then you've got essentially this corrupt, Orthodox, Sephardic party called Shas. And Shas is headed by a guy who I wouldn't trust with a shekel. His name is Aryeh Deri. Why do I say that? Going back almost a decade ago, he got sent to the slammer for corruption and payoffs.
That's pretty common in Israeli politics, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Unfortunately.
I mean, compared to us.
Yeah. So this guy was sell out to the highest bidder no matter what.
Yeah, that's correct. And so, that's the kind of roster you've got in order for Bibi to start building a coalition. Now, there are some smaller extremist right parties like Strong Israel that may have captured, quote, several votes, maybe 3 or 4, and they might possibly be added to a coalition, but most likely not.
So how does this coalition look today?
Well, this coalition looks today as if it's what was originally predicted to be a center-right coalition headed by Bibi.
Okay.
Okay, so, and there's even a comment saying that you may recall yesterday that Barry said that, well, one of the little gifts, so to speak, is what cabinet ministry in Israel that our friend Mr. Lapid would hold.
Right.
It was a question of social services because
Right.
he's also concerned about the middle class, whatever that means there.
Right.
And so suddenly today in the news, finance ministry?
Okay, I asked that.
Yeah.
I actually asked that yesterday, and he said no, he didn't have
He didn't financial
he
background.
didn't have the financial background or something like that.
Yeah, well, that hasn't stopped our friend Bibi from appointing somebody from YB or Israel Baitanu as finance minister. But after all, who controls the economy in Israel? What, any guess?
No.
Another pop quiz.
No, I do not.
Stanley Fisher, the only Jew in the cabinet born in Africa.
Okay.
Got that?
Okay.
Stanley Fisher was formerly, all putting that aside, he was formerly at MIT, he's a world-rank economist. He was the deputy managing director of the International Monetary Fund. He is head of the Bank of Israel, the equivalent of, quote, our Federal Reserve on steroids. He's the guy who runs the place economically, in terms of fiscal and monetary policy. He is good buddies with Ben Bernanke over here because of his prior experience. But he's also got a fire sounder head and shoulders in terms of how to keep the Israeli economy pushing ahead as a world-rank advanced technology-based economy.
Okay,
So he's a good person.
So the end result of the elections, what it looks like right now, is that it's a center right type of coalition, and
Right.
which is actually one of Obama's worst nightmares. Is that correct?
Yeah, and basically when I wrote my piece, and I hope, CJ, you read it finally, you remember what I said towards the end of it? I
He
said
keeps
that everybody in Washington, from this character David McCoskey, who's at the Washington Institute for Near East Policy, who's not exactly a good friend of Israel sometimes, despite his last name, they're all saying, well, everybody thought that Bibi was going to win, and so they looked for the next pretty face to pop up there, and they voted for Lapid. Whatever.
Okay.
I think that's all set to rest at these points. A friend of mine said to me this morning, gee, it's going to be a tough road to hoe in terms of putting together a working coalition. I think, frankly, after Lapid told Shelley today, Yasimovich, that no way was he going to lie down with the dogs from Balad in the Arab list. Was he ever going to join in any so-called obstructionist coalition?
Oh, yeah. There was no way that was going to happen.
There was no way that was going to
No,
happen.
because he's a nationalist.
Right.
That's correct.
Hello? He's,
So,
that's his first...
But look, and also remember that we reflected on one aspect of Barry's commentary, which was correct, and I agreed with it, and that was the fact that despite everything, people in the Labor Party might consider forming a coalition with his government because they knew that Bibi's priority was, number one, dealing with the Iran nuclear threat.
Right.
Bar none.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And therefore, he had the national security portfolio, as we discussed it yesterday.
Right.
Now, if he has Lapid, who's a center nationalist, and he has Bennett there, who's a nationalist of a right-wing hue, he's also got his buddies from Israel Baitanu, don't forget, who are part of that with 31 seats.
Right.
And I know one of the ministers personally in that cabinet currently.
Who
Who's a
gets
good guy.
defense?
What's that?
Who gets defense?
Well, I don't know. At this juncture, there's a couple of candidates there who might be switched around. I think it's going to be Bogi Yalon. Does that name ring a bell? Moshe?
Yeah, you know.
Oh,
you know
Moshe.
Ya'alon.
Moshe. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
He was a former chief of staff, and he was there, unfortunately, during the Second Lebanon War in 2006.
Okay.
Nonetheless, my hunch is that because Bogi, as I recall, back in 2005, you may recall when Mr. Sharon suggested that Israel was going to unilaterally leave Gaza. Remember what that was like?
Yeah, we sure do.
happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elon said you couldn't guarantee security for Israel in that.
Right.
So it looks like
So
land for peace is dead. The whole land for peace issue is dead, which is really good. I mean, as far as like trading land for peace right now, in this type of a government in Israel, it's off the table from what Barry was talking about yesterday and from what you said yesterday.
Yeah.
And,
That's a thanks for bringing that up, Mark, because Jerry, you and I were talking earlier today, and one of the things I found interesting about Barry's discussion on the show yesterday is some things that he really didn't talk about. For instance, he didn't talk about Egypt. He didn't talk about Syria. And I asked Jerry when we were speaking earlier today, I said, does anybody notice that this election was not a mandate on the issue of whether or not they should attack Iran? It was not. How do you live in Israel and not have that as your number one priority? Because if you look at the distribution of the votes for these political parties, they're voting for social issues. They're voting for economic issues. They're not voting for foreign policy issues.
Well, part of it's delusional. In the breast of every Jew in Israel is the hope. The hope, you like that, Hatikva? that somehow they can cut a deal with these territories next door.
Well,
Good
and also-
grief. I mean,
well, also-
tick, tock.
Well, also when we-
Iran is getting the bomb,
Well, also-
and these people are worried about where are they going to build apartments.
Well, that goes right back to the mindset. Right back to the mindset.
Intervene.
Go ahead.
30 seconds.
Good.
To close off a certain element of the discussion, CJ, you and I had this morning, what did I say about that? That's totally delusional.
Yeah.
Totally delusional. Take a look at what's going on next door in Syria.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got Al-Qaeda types running all over the place. You've got the Russians with a flotilla waiting offshore to take out how many Russian nationals in Syria and their families?
Like 40,000 or something.
30,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, he keeps with the quizzes.
I know.
What
I
is
know.
with you with the quizzes today?
Yeah, he's quizzing
You
us
need
all
to-
day.
Yeah, you need to put up a flag or something if you're going to ask us questions that we don't have the answers for on our computer right off the top.
We're not as smart as you, Jerry. We don't know this stuff,
Well,
like the,
sometimes we do, but how could you be sure which one we're going to know and which one we're not?
Right. But, in all candor, today's news was a blessing because
Yeah.
where Barry and I agreed was the fact that Bibi represents a masterful politician who keeps his eyes on the prize. And the prize here is to get coalescence around his people to deal with the existential threat of an Iran with a nuke,
Yeah,
Iran with a chemical weapon, Iran with a biological weapon.
yeah. Yeah.
And that should not be lost on anybody.
All right. Well, Jerry, can you give us a second here because we have a caller on the line who I think may have a question for all of us.
Hey, go ahead.
And we have Judah on the line. Judah, are you there?
Yes.
Hi. How are you
Yes.
today?
You got a question for
All
Jerry?
right. Good afternoon to all of you. I just want to say that I respectfully disagree with Jerry and Mark and the gentleman who was on yesterday.
Barry Shaw.
And let me say this: that there's no doubt. I am convinced that Israel must abrogate the Oslo Accords, and Israel needs more Clausewitz and Sun Tzu, and a little less of this. We want peace, and we want to make nice. And that's why I say the land for peace issue will not be dead until they vocally and officially abrogate the Oslo Accords and launch an offensive into Gaza and into Judea and Samaria to dismantle the PLO-PA, and of course in Gaza.
Well, to defend myself, when I'm talking about
make a parking lot out of Gaza.
Well, to clarify what I'm saying about the land for peace issue is dead, I'm talking about politically. It is not a main issue of topic in the election or in the major idea of politic. It is simply a side issue or a tertiary issue, if you will. It is not the primary driving issue. That's what I mean by land for peace is dead.
Really, for the first time in like 15 years, the people are turning away from it.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's gone. I don't think it's dead. There's too many parties on the left who increase their seats, even though there's just a few seats to begin with, and that is their platform is Land for Peace.
Right.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on one second. Let's take a look at the reality. Benjamin Netanyahu was supposed to be a nationalist on the right.
Yeah, I know about his speech at Bar-Ilan. Yeah.
Let me finish. Wait, in either 2009 or 2010, he officially endorsed a Palestinian Arab state.
Yeah, well,
The Likud party, all right? Likud, which again, supposed to be nationalist to the right. It was under Ariel Sharon that they officially put into effect a labor policy of unilateral disengagement. Unilateral disengagement was a labor policy.
Right.
And Likud went ahead and endorsed it and actually...
Well, actually, Netanyahu didn't. He got kicked in the dust.
Excuse me, with all due respect.
Yeah.
He voted for the unilateral disengagement.
Well, why is that? Because he couldn't put together the coalition to go against Sharon because Tzipi Livni said, I'm with you, I'll walk out with you if you walk out, and then at the last minute she didn't, and he was stuck. And then,
Ariel, Well, all right. I'll tell you.
Anyway,
wait.
listen,
That specific.
Hey, we're on hard. Hey, Judah, I'm not trying to cut you off, my friend.
yeah, we're not trying to cut you
We're-
off, but
we're
we're
getting
going to
co-
have to take a break in a minute here.
And we wanna
so,
let Jerry
yeah,
close
let's
out.
hear
But
what
I
Jerry
have
has
to
to say,
respectfully
and
disagree
then.
with all of you. God bless you all.
Okay, well, thank you for calling.
Yeah, we'll
Thanks for calling.
follow it up. Thank you. All right, Jerry, what do you think?
You want to close this out?
Well, I want to close it out with a suggestion. Have you ever had Mark Langfan on your
Yes,
Yes,
we
we have.
have.
And all his wonderful
And I was
maps.
about to bring him up because basically he has these wonderful maps of the of Judea and Samaria.
Okay.
Take a look at those maps. It tells you that Israel doesn't possess the hills overlooking the Jordan.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we know. I have one of his maps,
Yeah.
the big cardboard poster in the trunk of my car, so I could pull it out if I'm at somebody's house and need to show them a lesson.
Give him a lesson on land. Yes.
Yeah, actually, I did. I don't know where he is right now because I emailed him before the election and I wanted to try to have him on yesterday.
Yeah.
But he wasn't available. So, I want to have him on again as soon as possible.
Right. He was at an episode of Washington, I think, just last week before the elections with
Yeah.
my good Sarah Stern from Emmett, at which he was going through the traces, so to speak, of, talking people through these wonderful three-dimensional maps that really are an exclamation point. They said, you are a fool if you give that away.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Just giving them away, yeah.
Yeah, he's absolutely right.
Whoa.
I know.
All right, Jerry. Hey, listen, we thank you for coming on, and we're
Thank
coming
you
up on the
for
end.
calling back with the update.
Yeah, and all your wealth of information, and we'll have you on again in the future. And this is
As soon
fantastic.
as possible,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned.
I have a question to ask you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quick one.
What is the call sign of your station?
WNN
WNN
1470. Right.
1470 AM.
So it's WNN?
Yep.
Yeah, W Nancy Nancy.
You so fail.
Thank you.
Whiskey
I said
November,
that on
November.
purpose.
Whiskey
I did that
November,
on purpose
November.
with you military guys.
Whiskey November, November.
Bravo.
I did that on purpose. All right, we're coming up on a break. We
And
are Trento Vision.
On the flip side, on the other side of the 4 o'clock hour, we have a fascinating guest, Claire Lopez, is with the Center for Security Policy. Just a wealth of information. Former CIA person and all the things. So after the top of the hour, we will come back with Claire Lopez and talk about Benghazi, Hillary Clinton, and everything else. See you
Thank
around the
you.
hour.